welcome to U45 Morning Show on Super Screen Television. It's the 29th day in the month of January and the last Monday in this month. I hope everything you've planned for this month you were able to achieve it. If not, well, February is another opportunity to start over and over again. Welcome. I am Shegun Denola at DME.
Good morning. Great to be here this morning. It's been an amazing month. Some argue that the month of January this year has been slow, but for me, I think it has been pretty decent. During the 29th day, before now it would have been the 65th day of January.
Of course.
It's alright, guys. I'm aside this someone. Good morning.
I wish you all a happy new week. It's a beautiful new week, and go out there, be yourself, and do good. I wish you the best this week. My name is Patience Willie.
All right, you know how we drive the show on U45 Morning Show. First is the newspaper headlines, newspaper review, what's happening in the country, what's happening in the nation. We'll take a look at it, and then we have our guests. We have topic for discussion. The topic we'll be looking at today is the job security and well-being of employee in the country, and also we'll be looking at hashtag and trends, and then Sporting Joy will come in with the sport trend. So that is how we're going to drive your day. So right now we will go straight to the paper review. Let's see what's happening in the dailies. Pat?
Yeah, the very first newspaper we're looking at today is the Vanguard newspaper, and the major story on the front burner says Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger pull out of ECOWAS, and the writer says we're ready for negotiation solution. ECOWAS Commission. Another writer says Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger on suspension from ECOWAS presidency. Still another writer, it's a serious diplomatic meltdown at Tico. Moving on to another story, corrupt governance responsible for insecurity, banditry in the north. VP Shatima. This can be found on page 25 of the Vanguard. And the writer says, Afenifere expresses worry over upsurge in kidnapping in Southwest. Others. Then another story says, insecurity, we're taking fight to criminals on Den, federal government. This can be found on page 9 of the Vanguard. Moving on, forest crisis, high import duty, depressed vehicle other imports. This can be found on page 20. And the writer says, dealers lament poor sales. Bleak 2024 predicted as Naira sinks deeper. Situation could get worse. Musa Yusuf. Moving on to another story. CAF picks Usime for random drug test. This can be found on the back page, on the sports page of the Vanguard newspaper. Lastly, on the Vanguard, if Tinubu misses this opportunity, Nigeria is gone. Pa Adebanjo. This can be found on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. That's what I can take on the Vanguard.
All right, straight to the Nigerian Tribune. The main headline here says ECOWAS shaky as Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso quit. The writer says their withdrawal notification not yet received, and body says that's according to the body of ECOWAS. Another writer said more divisions imminent. NIIA directors warn. That story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, another story says governors can't fund states. Governors can't fund state police. That's according to Uzodima. The writer says Southwest governors talking with FG on Amotekun carrying guns. That's according to Oyebanji. That story is on page 2 and page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Committee on National Minimum Wage to be inaugurated on Tuesday tomorrow. That story is on page 25. Another story says how NAS has been violating Constitution since 1999. The writer says fails to inaugurate constitutionally approved committee 25 years after. That story is on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, US-based lecturer accidentally shot in Osun State. US-based lecturer accidentally shot, dead in Osun State. That story is on page 2. Quite unfortunate for that one and his family. Our condolences. Another story says again gunmen kill 8 in Benue State. That story is on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. And finally on the Nigerian Tribune, Ibadan explosion, NSE geoscientists to submit reports on building integrity tomorrow. That story is on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Straight up to the Daily Times. We're moving straight ahead to the Daily Times. Okay, so the front burner headline says Tinubu rules out Edu's reinstatement. And then the writer says suspended minister indicts president's aide. Another headline says Nigerian Air Force admits killing civilians in 2023 airstrikes in error. After that, down the newspaper, syringe importation killing local manufacturers. That's according to NAFDAC. For more of that story, you go to page 2 of the Daily Times and you will find it there. Following that directly, we are taking decisive steps to tackle inflation insecurity. That's according to federal government. And if you want to know more about that, it's on page 4. And AFCON 2024, everyone is charging Super Eagles to get the trophy. So all of us in the country, me especially, I'm charging the Super Eagles to bring home the trophy so we can rejoice, and finally on the Daily Times, Naira depreciation, experts demands reforms to tackle foreign exchange abuse. And that'll be all on the Daily Times.
Moving on to the Punch newspaper, the front burner story says tracking device shortage hindering police probe. Source. This story can be found on page 2, 3 and 5, 2, 3, 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. The writer says deaths of tracking devices causing delays in investigations. Arrest of abductors, says investigators. Moving on to another story, NDLEA declares beauty queen wanted. Naps Brazil returnee. This can be found on page 4 of the Punch. And to another story, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger yet to exit formally ECOWAS. That's on page 8. To another story, 40 trillion naira local government allocations diverted by governors. Sarah. This can be found on page 7. Moving on, Osun Praise detained after US-based prof's murder. And this can be found on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Another story says FG appoints 6 governors to minimum wage panel. This can be found on page 7 of the Punch. And lastly, IRS demands Achimogu's tax returns after lavish birthday. This can be found on page 27.
All right, straight to the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun, the main headline says, cracking ECOWAS, Mali, Niger Republic, Burkina Faso pull out. The writer says, claim regional body has become threat to member states. Another writer says, move shocking. They've not written us, says commission. That story is on page 6 of the Daily Sun. Tinubu playing politics, not governance. That's according to SDP presidential candidate Adebayo. If you want to find out what Adebayo is saying, grab the Daily Sun newspaper and you find our story on page 19. Moving on the Daily Sun, Edo Guba, APC warns Oshomole State Chapter against vetting aspirants. That story is on page 28. NDLEA declares ex-beauty queen wanted over illicit drugs. That story is on page 5. Ex-militant negotiator proposes 30-day plan to reduce insecurity. That story is on page 6 of the Daily Sun. Call on NNPP leaders to join APC. Ganduje determined to end politics of bitterness, says aide. Diri cries arming non-state actors at elections. Page 27 of the Daily Sun. Mango killings. What we want Speaker Abbas to discuss with Tinubu. That's according to the House of Rep. That story is on page 20. Vehicle dealers cry out over inflation. The writer says transportation cost to skyrocket. They warned. Another writer says beg federal government for waiver. That story is on page 2 of the Daily Sun. And finally on the Daily Sun, it says 70% of Nigerian foods products rejected abroad, and that's coming from NAFDAC. For more of that story, grab a copy of the newspaper Daily Sun, and then you'll find our story on page 26.
All right, away from that, we're going straight to Daily Trust, and then the headline there says ECOWAS opt for negotiation as Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso quits. And then the writer says why we pulled out of regional bloc. Another writer says action will weaken group. That's according to Diplomat. And then finally this writer says Atiku urges Nigeria to tighten security. Another headline says war on Gaza, children paying highest price. Tinubu to inaugurate minimum wage committee on Tuesday. For more of that, go to page 6 and you will find it there. Following that directly, how security operatives nabbed Nabina's killer, police. And then explosion kills 6 in Borno. Explosion kills 6 in Borno. Well, that will be all for the Daily Trust. Thank you for staying tuned, and then that will be all from our newspaper review this morning. And then after this, we'll quickly do we still have hashtag and trends, and then the topic for today, which is job security and staff well-being in Nigeria. That's what we'll be looking at. What are the odds? What are we facing? What are we looking at? What are the requirements? Which job has security, which doesn't? How can we survive? How can we thrive as employer? And then the relationship between employer and employee. All of this we're going to be looking at during the course of discussion. Right about now, we'll go on a short break, and when we'll come back, it will be time for hashtag and trends. Then our guest will join us for the topic. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.
long lineal line.
It's lights out and away we go. Bottas gets away well. He's alongside Lewis Hamilton and he's making good progress.
Definitely a look here. They play this kind of zone.
Sebastian Vettel does they retire from
Moses. Ventura looking much more promising in the second half. Red Bull Lucia!
Some school of thoughts believe the major challenges confronting Nigeria as a nation is caused by poor leadership. How true is this? You and I can actually put government into tools to deliver the dividends of democracy. Join us every Saturday by 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Let us look at the issues confronting us as a nation together with talk heads. Nigeria can be great again. I'm Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. Keep it date.
What up, guys? How's your day going? How are you doing this? I want to believe that you're having fun, right? This bright and sunny day. You know that once you see this duo on your TV screen, we're here to serve you some entertainment.
And of course, entertaining gist coupled with good music won't hurt anybody, right? So here on Super Lunch, we get to entertain you, educate you on recent happenings in the world of entertainment. I am your girl, Eva Grace.
And I am Shegun Delala Adeyemi, the Duke of your airwaves. You know how it is. We serve you good entertainment Mondays all through to Fridays. And that's how we do. We'll take you on a smooth ride of entertainment. So don't go nowhere. Join us every Mondays to Fridays. We love you guys.
There's no place for pretense. I can't watch you stand there. Oh no.
Ó ta lẹ́nu, ó pọ̀ lẹ́nu, ó dùn lẹ́nu. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó ta lẹ́nu, ó pọ̀ lẹ́nu, ó dùn lẹ́nu. Yusuf Murtala ni orúkọ ti tèmi Funky ọmọ ẹ̀lẹ̀ tó gbásìkì tó dùn tó kí tó yí gbogbo. Ẹ pàdé mi ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Thursday 8:30 to 9:30 àti gbogbo ọjọ́ Saturday 1 to 2 fún ètò tó ga jù. Ẹ má miss ẹ̀, ó ga jù lẹ́tò. Ẹ pàdé mi, ó ṣàprápra.
Lẹ́nu ó pọ̀ lẹ́nu ó dùn lẹ́nu. Come what I cannot do.
Welcome to Naija Plus. Make you not touch that there, make your finger for no. Wetin be your plan for your country, and wetin you sef want make your country do for you. You need to give something before you take something. Now the only way matter fit balance. No be say fowl no plan to fly you, but the power no carry am. As matter dey shele for inside Naija, make you sef chook your mouth, make we build our country. No be every time we go talk things bad. Come out for that corner before mosquito bite your tortoise. Oya, e get as e happen for your area and you want make plenty eye see am, make you hear am, make you for reach authority. You get video of the scene? Send am sharp sharp. Before I forget, now top super screen with there and my name now Mr. Peace. That MC with a biggie swag. Naija na for everybody. Make you not touch that there, make your finger for no.
reach for the sky, ladies and gentlemen.
Demand attitude.
Salahuddin.
Demand excitement. Demand action.
Second half. Red Bull Lucia! Moses. The long lineal line. In the second half. Red Bull.
You're welcome back. It is still U45 morning show, and right about now we're going straight to hashtag and trend. Solomon.
All right, straight to hashtags and trend. There's a story here that is trending, and it's from Victoria in Yama, and she said, my ex-husband brought his side chick home, and she was telling me what to cook. That's actress Victoria Yama.
Number one. All shades of wrong, fa. Number one, bring in your side chick. Having a side chick, number one,
it's even wrong.
It's wrong, number one. Yes. Then I bring the side chick home. That's another shade of wrong. Then the side chick now telling the wife, the woman of the house, what to cook in her matrimonial home.
For me, Shego, I think the first thing that let's address the basic or fundamental issue. Man and wife are not having a fantastic marriage. For a man to disrespect his wife to that point, it shows that they've not been having it all smooth. And he didn't just disrespect her privately, he's also disrespecting her publicly by bringing his side chick home. Only God knows what he must have told that girl concerning his wife.
His friend and colleague.
That's the side chick.
That was how he presented her to.
Oh.
So friend and colleague.
Friend and colleague.
Yeah.
You know, my take on this is a flow of what our ancestors were doing in the past.
But our ancestors had wives.
No,
but they also had concubines.
No, they had concubines, and I was reliably informed by a close family friend that her husband brings side chicks home, and that she has to cook, she has to make the bed, she has to make sure they have water to take their bath, and take care of the husband and the side chick.
Okay, so where
is this 1965 or what?
It should be in the 60s, 70s, yes.
Oh.
Okay, that was then. Okay, that was still the era where they used your wife to.
It was highly patriarchal.
No. This tribe actually doesn't use their wives to entertain, but they're free to come home with the side chicks.
Oh.
So who abolished that?
I don't.
She's not happy because she's not enjoying that type of benefit.
Shaggle.
He said who abolished it?
No, I was told by this woman in question that then if they want something new, they have to talk to the side chick. So they really have to take care of the side chick, because at that point in time, the side chick is the apple of the husband's eyes. So they have to take care of the side chick so that they can tell the side chick, we want new abada. We want new, that was when polygamy was thriving.
Yeah.
But now, this is new age, so I don't see the reason why the husband should bring that culture and treat her so inhumanly.
Yeah, and this is why people have argued that men are polygamous in nature. It's debatable though, but I think I understand what they're trying to say that. But I don't want to delve
even if
into
they are
all that
polygamous in nature, it doesn't mean he should bring his side chick home. And then the side chick now is acting like the president.
But you just gave a scenario.
I gave the scenario, but I'm not saying it's right. The fact that I gave a scenario of how it happened to somebody doesn't mean it's right.
No, but it was legal then. It was traditionally legal.
It was traditionally.
What if he's trying
to some tribes?
What if he's trying to bring it back?
Bring what back?
We don't even know if he's from that tribe. Anyway, let's move on. Now there's another one. It's from Tonali Baj. It says, no matter how comfortable we are as partners, please do not fart around me. Let's have some respect.
Okay, so I don't think I have a problem with that when you fart around me, but please, not when we're eating.
Okay.
Not when we're eating. I mean, some couples, they're on the dining, and then they're eating, and then all of a sudden you just say, I'm like, what's happening here? What's going on?
Well, for me, this is my take on this. I think when you have a partner that you're getting really comfortable with, there are certain things you just start doing without it. You would.
But not when you're eating.
Look, of course, it is improper when you're eating.
Yes.
You just eating, but she's saying that she doesn't want you to fart at all.
That is impossible.
You understand? That's what she's saying.
Human beings, we're different, and it's because he's not in love yet, right? When she's in love, all of these things would not really matter.
Exactly.
You've not seen a couple where the man wants to fart, he takes the hand of the woman, puts his bum up,
you understand? And they will laugh and
you understand? So
different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's all right. Moving on, the singer Lil Frosh, his girlfriend is saying something after the alleged domestic violence saga. My ex-girlfriend. Okay, it is Lil Frosh that is actually saying that his girlfriend wants
to come back.
Wants to come back.
And now the problem is, well, good for Lil Frosh, but I don't know how all of this is going to turn out, because it's becoming developing story.
Shagu, if you are the one, will you accept her back?
With what happened,
yeah.
I don't think I won't. I won't. Because, okay, so he lost almost everything. Davido unfollowed him, chased him out of DMW because of the old saga, because the girl came out with swollen eyes, this one. They went to court. Helicas have gone to court. Can't be friends after court. That's
okay.
what I say.
Madam Pat, why do ladies do this? Okay, I'm a man. Why would a woman or a lady, after being domestically abused, brutally, oh, you have to see pictures, brutally, now she wants to go back?
I don't understand her
Is it money? Is it fame?
I don't understand her mental state, because it is, I don't think she's stable. Because, you know, a lot of women are going through abuse, and they're praying to get out of it. And this is a man that has abused her, and there's plenty of evidence that he actually abused her, and she wants to go back. I think she needs to get her head checked.
But the guy denied it though, said he died.
So where did all the bruises and all that, did she harm herself?
No,
did she hurt herself?
So the lady, the girl says, some people said it is allergic. There is reaction.
Okay.
That she was reacting to something.
Reaction, because it's bruises.
But she said no, that it's not reaction, that she went to the hospital, all of this and all of that, and then they went to court. Ali Froge was begging him as of 2020, as of 2023, was begging him. So now she says, okay, let me just let it slide and then go back into the relationship. So I'm like, is everything okay with you?
I don't think she needs to go back and read about Osinachi and what happened to her in an abusive relationship, how she sadly lost her life.
Yeah, so, well, you said it. I think she might not be in the best
frame of mind.
You know, she's probably missing, you know, the times.
Beating.
No, the times you know what people do when relationships break is to analyze the good and the bad times.
Yeah.
If the good times were really good, they may want to give it a second chance. So she might just be going through that.
I wish her all the best.
You know, free access to Davido, you know, come on.
What's all that as compared to her life?
Maybe she's not thinking in that direction, because if you think in that direction, you wouldn't want to go back to a relationship that you claimed is abusive. Because the guy says no, it's not abusive. He's not being abusive, but she claims he's abusive. And I even went ahead as far as threatening our friends, our colleagues. You understand? And well, she knows what she wants. I want to believe that.
Yeah. And there's another story. This is rather a sad one. US-based lecturer shot dead by local hunters after attending Osun monarch's coronation anniversary. This is
but I don't understand. Was he in the forest when this happened?
Good question.
Osun's monarch what? Monarch's
coronation anniversary.
Yeah.
Because now I saw somewhere where the police said some security agencies are saying they should interrogate the prince, Osun prince.
Okay.
Do you understand? And then I read somewhere where it says the security personnel were joyous, and they were celebrating with him that, okay, he's going back to the US. Okay, let us rejoice and merry and all of that. And that was when this happened. So it could be a planned work. It could be
a stray bullet.
You understand? So investigation just has to go on. But to the families he left behind, we just pray that God grants them the fortitude to
bear the
loss.
All right, that's a sad one. Our condolences to the family, and that's all we'll be able to take for hashtags and trends this morning.
All right, so that concludes it on hashtag and trends, and we'll be looking at job security. And it's still part of this Jackpot syndrome, because I mean, there's no work anywhere, no job. Now, during Buhari, former president, Muhammadu Buhari's regime, he said there is no job in the government parastatals. Go and create jobs for yourself. So we're looking at job security and staff well-being, and also loss of talent in the workforce, in the workplace. The way people just hire and fire because I can. They don't hire. Some don't hire and fire because you've done something wrong. They just hire and fire because they can. And that's what we'll be looking at after this time out. Let's go on a very, very short break. When we come back, we'll start with the topic for discussion. Stay with us.
Some school of thoughts believe the major challenges confronting Nigeria as a nation is caused by poor leadership. How true is this? You and I can actually put government into tools to deliver the dividends of the Welcome back to the U45 Morning Show. Today we are discussing a very, very important issue, which is job security and loss of talents. We have this Japa syndrome because a lot of people don't have jobs. And some that have jobs are not even secure because their employers normally give them high targets which they can't meet. I'd like to read this before we go on. Job security has been a challenge in Nigeria for many years. The unemployment rate is high at around 33%, and employment is also common, meaning that many workers are not working in jobs that make use of their full skills and abilities. As a result, many workers are not able to earn enough to support themselves and their families, leading to financial insecurity and stress. Additionally, many jobs in Nigeria are informal, meaning that the workers do not even have a contract with their employers and they can be kicked out at any time. What's your take on this?
Job security. The truth is, when we talk about job security, we're talking about job stability. We're talking about employees' effectiveness, in their place of work. It helps them to be more effective and efficient, and bring in their best to that job and the organization as a whole. So, the benefits cannot be overflogged when employees are secured or seem secured in their jobs, But unfortunately, that has not been the case, especially in Nigeria today, where we see job uncertainties. We see employers threatening employees that, look, if you don't get this done, I'll kick you out, because there are 1,001 people who want this job, and that has put pressure on a lot of employees, and the economic situation not helping matters. You see a lot of people underemployed. You see a lot of people doing jobs that they are not meant to do. Off camera, my colleague was talking about an engineer who, not just an electrical engineer, aeronautic engineer, who ended up becoming a truck driver just to survive. And that's what we're talking about today. I remember there was a time Dangote Refinery posted one of their employment statistics, where they had a lot of PhD holders wanting to be truck drivers, in Dangote Refinery. That just goes to tell you that when we talk about job security and all of that, it is very prevalent in Africa, especially in a populous society like Nigeria, where we have a lot of people and there are no jobs to match the churned out graduates that we have year in, year out. It's a major challenge, to our economy.
Because now one tends to wonder, is education really the thing? Because I could recall a clergyman was saying something that while he was in the university 4 years studying, one guy from the east is with his uncle for 5 years doing apprenticeship, and then after 5 years the uncle or the person is with sets him up, because that's like we could say freedom, you understand, sets him up, and then he is now an employer of labor. But him that went to school is with his certificates. looking for jobs up and down. So now, and then, so though in higher institutions these days, I feel they do entrepreneurship training.
Yeah.
But how effective is that thing? How effective? So I don't know, because we breed graduates every year. We breed graduates every year, but there is no matching jobs to curtail them. So most of them end up doing, thank God for soft skill, most of them end up doing other things. I know like up to 200 graduates who was just doing remote jobs, and their work is in the US, UK. They're not doing remote jobs because there are no jobs here in Nigeria. And because they're working in the US, our day is their night. Their night is our day. So he works overnight, all through the night. That's when it resumes. You understand? So the government needs to find a means, find a way to create
jobs,
employment.
You remember we had a guest sometime last week that said Nigeria has about 40% of the world's mineral resources.
Yes.
Remember he said so. I believe if the government should harness these resources and create companies, to process these resources, the Nigerians will be gainfully employed.
I agree with you, Paul. If only, okay, let's even take it slowly. See the amount of employment and opportunities and economic development that Dangote Refinery is bringing to Bejuleke.
Bejuleke, yes.
Alone. Now imagine our refineries are working. Thousands of young people will be employed.
Yes.
Imagine we take advantage of agriculture.
Definitely.
Agriculture in our universities today is one of the most ridiculed courses among students. When you say I'm studying agricultural economics, agricultural science, anything related to agriculture, animal or plants, or you are seen as someone who has come to school to waste our time. But that is big business.
It is.
And for us to fix this, I think we should first of all go back to our educational sector. We need to overhaul a lot of things. We need to start introducing some of these things that are out there, some of these jobs, some of these professions. Let's start inculcating them, introducing them from primary school level. Before we even go to, because we cannot wait until university before we start talking about entrepreneurship development, which was what many of us went through while in the university. You're just in your final year or probably in your third year and you're just hitting you with entrepreneurship development. Who told you I want to be an entrepreneur when the skill had not been developed compared to that guy, Chukwubuike, that was learning how to sell spare parts since he was probably 15 or 20. But yeah, I'm doing the YDX, I'm doing statistics, and then in my final year, you're talking about entrepreneurial development. How am I going to? That's hitting me. That to me, that's even educational shock. You understand? Like they say, cultural shock.
Let me bust your bubble. So while in school, right, I used to have this guy. I was like, this guy's a big boy. I was thinking, okay, well, maybe one of these rich man's children, one of the big men. So I think year 3 thereabout. So now got talking, and I got to find out that this guy, after secondary school, is a bit older than us. So after secondary school, he went to live with his uncle, and he stayed there for like I think 7 years. And then after that, the uncle's what business again? Tiles and marbles. And then after that, they will open a shop for you and stock
the shop. Yes.
So they did that for him. Marbles, expensive. And he had his customers, because from where he was coming from, some people would like him personally and would like to deal with him.
Yes.
So he had some customers starting off. And he said the space of 2 years, he started going to Spain by himself to check for the marbles he was. Started going to Italy by himself. And then, so after all of that, he now came to school.
Fantastic.
You see what we're talking about? Now, when people say education is scam, education is not scam. Viewers, education is not scam. You understand? But let's understand what people are talking about. That if you go to school and waste all of your time, studying, and then you come back and there are no jobs, like the guy that we talked about few months back, I think it was last year, that brought out all of his certificates and burnt everything.
Yes.
That's the height of frustration. He said since he graduated, he had been working with people who are uneducated. So what's the point? Some of them are even earning more than you. So that's what we're talking about. Our educational system needs a total overhaul.
Yes.
Our education system is archaic. Look, this syllabus is meaningless. There are some things that are useless in the syllabus. There are some things that are not needed. We have crude oil. We have petroleum resources. We have this. We have tin. We have zinc. We have this. But we don't. You never be in a secondary school class and they're teaching you how to mine.
No, you're not taught that. Even in the university, sometimes they don't teach you.
Don't teach you.
You understand? So that's what we're talking about.
These are our resources. Something that someone says somewhere that there is a child in China that is studying mining in secondary school. There's a child in Germany that is studying refinery. Secondary school as a course. But here we are, you say maths, you say English,
literature, history.
They've yanked history out of our curriculum. So, I mean, things that ought to be removed are kept. Things that they are meant to keep.
But they're supposed to keep history.
If we're talking about that,
they're supposed to keep history.
They yanked it off.
I read last week that one of the Eastern governors is planning to introduce the study of Indian language into his state's education.
But why would he do that?
Not that it's just him. In Yanogwa, in Yanogwa is Bayelsa State. Yes. They are planning to introduce Chinese, Chinese, French.
Shagun, I don't have a problem with
about our indigenous language.
I don't have a problem.
We want to lose our indigenous language.
I don't have a problem with that, provided we're learning also our indigenous language.
I don't blame them. You know why? Because there are no jobs here. So what the governor was saying is, if I teach them, if they understand this language very well, after education, they can travel there and blend instantly, and then they are able to work.
No, but the thing
that just tells you how terrible the situation is.
The situation can be
for
remedied.
For a governor to be thinking in that direction.
It can be remedied. The thing there is, even this insecurity thing we've been crying about over the years has a large part to play in employment. It does. Because I was talking to somebody today and he said, there are farms, people are going into farming. But a lot of people are scared to go into the forest because they're scared they might kill them, they're scared they might destroy their crops, they might bring in cows one day.
It's true, that has been happening.
Now, if we have mechanized farming and we have a good company, that does maybe tomato, yams, and all that, people will begin fully employed without much stress because we have all the lands. We don't have the lands.
Okay, so now the thing is, so even down here in the south, in the west, the Fulani headsmen are still here, and they roam about the streets everywhere unchecked. You see them carrying ammunitions, see them carrying machetes, see them moving around with their cattle. Now, who is supervising them? You see them somewhere and it's usually the forest, people's farm, because that's where people obviously go to go and farm. What happens when they are left alone? What happens when there's an altercation between the two parties? Because these farmers, all they have is maybe rake, got small machetes.
That's why they've been killed. And they've been killing them, especially from Benue State where we have the food baskets. people were gainfully employed. A lot of people invested in Benue State as the food baskets, and people had jobs.
So I want to ask: is getting a job a right or a privilege?
It is
as a citizen.
It is not a privilege; it's a right. I believe it's a right, because you have to earn a living to be able to meet up with your needs. So it's not a privilege.
Our president promised 50 million jobs.
That seems to be your job.
50 million jobs, that's what he promised. So that tells you that it is the right of the citizen. But again, I want to say that actually, in the actual sense, it is not the government's responsibility to provide jobs. The responsibility is to provide
environment.
Now, has your government provided this enabling environment?
Because the largest employer of the world is the small and medium
SMEs.
For many of them, they are struggling to stay.
Definitely.
And so that's why you see sometimes it puts the frustration on the employees. No work, no pay, we're not earning, we're buying diesel, we're doing this. And sometimes if you are a business owner, you will feel for this guy. Sometimes I sit down and ask myself, how do they cope? How do they cope? So who bears the brunt? It is the innocent employee. But will everybody become an employer? Who's going to be the employee?
Of course.
So, I mean, we just hope that the government will provide enabling environment. We need to work on our education sector, to see how we can revamp our curriculum, because many of them they are archaic already.
Yes.
And we also have to look at the employee themselves. For many employees, guys, have you gone to let me not use the undergraduate. Go to the NYSC camp. Ask our NYSC.
Are they employable, man?
You understand? Guys, simple question. If I ask them to recite the NYSC, ask them the meaning of NYSC. Basic question, they cannot defend it. And these are the guys that are saying, there are no jobs. If you are an employer of labor, would you employ such a candidate?
Yes, most people are not employable, but yet either employable or not employable, the jobs should be there. There are some countries where they have a lot of jobs, but there are no people to fill in those positions.
Those countries still have unemployment issues.
Yes, people that do not want to work.
No,
some
people that want to work, but there are no jobs that match what they want to do.
You are selecting.
You're selecting.
No. Yeah. Okay, are you saying that the UK have fixed unemployment issues forever? The US have fixed unemployment? Exactly.
No, but the thing there is, why is it that when Africans go to the US and to the UK, they have jobs to do?
Good, because Africans are ready to clean. He might be a bank manager in Africa, but right here, he's ready to clean because their family is dependent on him. Africans can go dirty to survive. These guys would not do that. Even their education, many of them don't go to school because the economy is fair. So it is our people that still go there and go to school. It's just picture an Aboki from the north coming here. That's the kind.
For now, we'll go on this quick break, and when we'll come back, our guest will be in the studio with us, and we will be taking a look at this topic we're talking about, and then from a professional angle, let him tell us and then explain to us. Do stay with us, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. It is still U45, and thank you for staying with us. All right, so we have our guest in the house, and he's the president and a fellow at Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, and also he's a military engineer, industrial safety planning and control specialist. All right, so he's the person of Timothy Chimeze Iwagu. You're welcome this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, quickly, let me ask you, what is your perspective of job security?
Job security has to do with the confirmation of an employee's status on job, and that which is enough to give him the confidence and make him work optimally. Job security promotes efficiency and reduces accident too, because if the mind is not stable, there can be a lot of accidents or mistakes that can lead to accidents. Now, job security must be emphasized, especially in Nigeria. But casualization and all this part-time employment has also diminished that aspect of our employment design. I know that the Federal Ministry of Labor has a guideline that goes against keeping a worker for more than 6 months under a casual list. And we've had some litigations in the past where courts of competent jurisdiction maintained in their judgment that even the so-called casual worker has right to belong to a union, trade union, to join trade union, even though some employees kicked against it and even went to court.
Employees or employers?
Oh, please, employers.
Okay.
Yeah, employers went to court at one time or the other to get something against that. But if we look at it generally, job security, even when they tell you that you are under probation, and then your period of probation sometimes not defined, and sometimes it is exceeded, and you are not hearing from them, the law says you must be communicated in writing after 3 months. That is the general thing. But I can tell you that there's nothing like casual work in our labor statute. There's nothing like casual labor. And then people are contracted to outsource for companies, especially in the oil and gas. And these people are employed through contractors, and most of the contractors keep the money and pay these people peanuts. And because of the socioeconomic realities in our country, and then the hypocrisy on the part of government, because government is most implicated in this casual issue, because we know people who have worked up to 17 years, 12 years, 15 years on casual list of federal government of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So when we are talking about casualization and all the effect, so where do we start and where do we end?
Okay, could that be the reason why we're losing manpower in this part of the world?
Yes, yes. You see, people must earn a living. And sociology says that every strata of society must survive. And in search of that survival, sometimes they go into things that may not be very pleasant with society. But sociology also states that society is responsible for criminality. So a lot of people have been out of job. Some people are working with stipends that are not sustainable. And to make ends meet, some of them are driven into some antisocial acts, and then they become victims of a system that is hypocritical, in the sense that they are compelled to go out of their way to survive, because they have to survive. And now the options left now is for people to migrate, because for every biological life, the aim of every living thing is to continue living. And when any biological being is threatened, it either gets adapted to that threat, or escape, migrate from that place, or die. So these are the three options left. So because these people want to continue staying alive, the option now is to migrate, because the excruciating and dehumanizing situation here cannot be such that any person will opt for adaptation. You know, you won't want to adapt to a situation that does not sustain life.
Okay, so I would like to ask, what factors should we consider as regard well-being? Because we're looking at job security and also the well-being of the employee.
Yeah, the employee, the well-being. When we talk of well-being, for example, I know that the Constitution has it in its first schedule that it shall be the duty of government to provide security and welfare. Now, the well-being of a worker is derived from that welfare, because the government has a duty to protect every citizen, whether at work or at home. Even the madman in the street that is roaming about is under the care of government. It's either the government provides a place to go and accommodate that.
Yeah, for rehabilitation.
Yes. So a well-being of a worker goes from the remuneration, because this is a worker who puts his time, puts his skill, puts his energy into productive work process. He is or she is qualified and entitled to what we could describe as well-being in terms of remuneration. It must be paid. There should be some health care, HMOs. It is mandatory, absolutely mandatory, that HMOs, that companies or employers should have some affiliation with some HMOs, maintain retainership with them, and then where the workers will be taken care of should they take ill. Ambulance service.
So, is this applicable everywhere? What about those, let's say the SMEs, we're talking about SMEs who are the largest employer of labor in this part of the world, these SMEs that can't afford HMOs?
Yes, there are cooperative societies, associations, where people are supposed to belong. Even the lowest strata of the business system under this SME we're talking about now. We see them, people go around every shade in the big market every day and collect certain amount of money into a pool of funds. You understand? And some people don't even care. They've been contributors for years. They've never asked, what do we do with this money? They only tell you when the money grows, they give you certain amount. What is being done with this money that makes it grow it remains a mystery, and shrouded in secrecy by certain people. You see, when people are almost rejected by government, and they decided to take care of themselves by thinking out ways of survival. It is wrong also for them to start depriving one another of good knowledge of what is being done, because they are all contributors to that system. So we cannot really say this level of the economic strata cannot also enjoy medical service through their own system, because that money they get every day, they can as well contract the medical services of health management organization to take care of those people in the market and all those small businesses. But sometimes, like they say, where in a group of dwarfs, why should anybody come to call the other person a stunted person? You understand? If they are all people who have been rejected by government per se, who have come to think out a way of surviving, why should they among themselves again try to keep other people in the dark? So there are quite some things going on in that system, and that is why even the motor parks, you see these people we say Agbero and all those people, they work, they are committing their real energy. Can you imagine? Somebody will be so energetic to be chasing a moving vehicle, run after a moving vehicle, collect money, counting it on motion, and then making sure he's not shortchanged. He's working for a system that he does not understand. That is real energy. Some of them are youth. The youthful energy is being wasted into something that is not accountable. And then so when they fall, break their head, you see them with patches, big plasters on their faces. Where do they get their treatment? They just match them to one roadside chemist and they put a plaster there, and that's all. And you see them. I saw one with a terrible stitch over the stomach. Why? Somebody stabbed him with bottle. It's part of the risk of their own job. But then, if they are generating money for an unseen hand to collect, why is their well-being not considered? So the issue of well-being of workers and who is a worker, because the aim of work is to earn a living, not to earn debt, not to earn injury, not to earn illness. And so you must make provisions for any man or any woman who is engaged in any work activity.
Timothy Wago.
Yeah.
What are the consequences of not prioritizing the well-being of employees in an organization? What impact will it have on the individual and then the organization?
Yes. Now, I want to take from one aspect of the well-being. If it's not, I did not mention also that the worker, it's mandatory by law. It's in the statute that the worker's personal development must be factored in whatever package an employer is having. So some workers may need to embark on capacity development, personal development, because there's no law that says he must work and die in a particular organization. He might also want to change to another level based on an improvement in his qualification.
Yeah.
Yes. So the employer must give every worker that leverage to self-improvement. And then where there's no self-improvement or no provision for that well-being, the worker will now go through a shortcut. Workers will appear at work, clock in, and disappear. The effective man hour is not utilized. Therefore, productivity suffers and profitability suffers at the end of it all. So the employer would have been better off if he openly called the employees and said, look, you can do this for your own well-being. That happiness, because the workforce has left the realm of labor to human resource or human capital. Before now, when you say factors of production, you talk of labor, you talk of capital, you know, and so now you are not going to look at human being as a machine that will be working. And the difference between the man and the machine is that the man has conscience, the man has feeling, he can be emotional. And if the man is depressed, his concentration at work diminishes and productivity suffers. Machines can even go bad. And even the man, because of poor well-being, the man can also have problem whereby he's working and his mind is not there. And if he's working and his mind is not there where he's working, then you can see that for example, if he's a machine operator, he can just put his hand into the machine and his fingers get sliced.
Yes.
So all these things are part of the problems, things that can happen where the well-being is secondary or totally trivialized. So we are looking at the man with conscience, the human being. So you don't treat him like a machine, because his feelings and satisfaction will rub off on the overall productivity in workplace.
All right. So people say government jobs are the only secured job in this part of the world. How is it? How is it that way?
Yes, people say government work is the most secured. When they say most secured, it's most secured in the sense that it is mostly unsupervised. Most secured in the sense that it is about to your tent, everybody take care of himself. Sometimes people are regulated in a manner that can best be described as witch hunt, because it's a system that is just free for all fight. People play with the job, and the government maybe doesn't have the will to control, because they have already deprived that sector excessively, that they don't have the guts to even go and challenge. And the government may not pay leave allowances for years. The government and nobody will say anything. Or sometimes the money could be diverted in a corrupt circle. And then you want to report, you may be reporting to the wrong place that has no feeling for you too. So they said the government place is the best place, especially government teachers. In a private school, you can't see a teacher selling shoes and Ankara in the classroom, but you see it in government school.
True. Yeah, yes.
You get my point?
In fact, in primary school those days, I attended a public government school, and then in primary 6, to be precise, we were breaking melon for our teachers in the class.
Okay. So you'll be breaking melon in the class for the teacher.
Yes.
Yes. And you see that some of those schools, the population of a class could be up to 80 people. Okay. And the teacher will be very happy where about 20 are playing outside to reduce noise in the class.
So we have a vox pop we would like to play. We went to the street to get people's opinion the general opinion about this job security and staff well-being. All right, my producer, if you're not too busy, please let us have the vox pop and hear what the people are saying on the street.
Name is Thank God. Job security in Nigeria, it depends. To me, it's a two-side of a coin thing. It's not really the way people used to say it, but my view is different. Job security, as in what first aspect is when you are employed, you are working in a company, and all of a sudden the economy is not favoring the company, and they have to like fold up. Like what we are experiencing now, most companies are folding up because of the economy. It's not stable, nobody's regulating anything, nobody's controlling anything, so the government does not even have time. My name is Thank God. Job security in Nigeria, it depends. To me, it's a two-side of a coin thing. It's not really the way people used to say it, but my view is different. Job security, as in what first aspect is when you are employed, you are working in a company, and all of a sudden the economy is not favoring the company, and they have to like fold up. Like what we are experiencing now, most companies are folding up because of the economy. It's not stable, nobody's regulating anything, nobody's controlling anything, so the government does not even have time to look at the economy, to face the economy. So with that, it will affect some company, and those employees get affected. Most of them get affected, and the company folds up and they lose their job. You see, there's no job security in that aspect. And sometimes in bank also, it happens that they can retrench anybody at any time.
My name is Muyiwa Jet. What do you mean by job security at this time of the day? Is there food security itself? Oh God, please, look, everybody's pissed off. Is anything working? You're talking of job security where there's no food security yet. You yourself, have you eaten this morning? Do you have hope? Excuse me, please.
My name is Nemekamba Oberagu. People are suffering. Our government are not helping the matters. So even if they have job to give, they will look for their relations and give. Not people that's supposed to do the work. So there's no job security in Nigeria because government are not ready to assist poor masses. So there's no need of staying here in Nigeria suffering month to month, year to year. A graduate cannot boast of 100,000. So what are we doing here? We're doing nothing.
Thank you for staying with us. Have you heard that? Have you eaten this morning?
Sure, I've eaten this morning.
Honestly.
That's a serious.
Mr. Timothy.
Yeah.
Now, there's something else that puts employees under a lot of pressure that also affects their productivity, like we've talked about earlier. And one of it is sometimes, this is very common with private organizations. They set unrealistic targets, sometimes unreasonable, unempathetic targets for these employees, and it burns them out sometimes, and they find it difficult to meet their target, and which could sometimes lead to loss of job. What's your take on this?
Yes, I think that is absolute unfairness to the employee. The targets are unrealistic. Most of the targets unrealistic, and then callous, if I may say, because the harsh economic environment does not promise such targets to be considered sustainable. So targets fixed by employers to get things done without even telling you the strategy to go about it, without even telling you where to go. If a fisherman must throw his net, he must have known that he will get fish in this part of the river. But where you are told to just throw your net inside a swimming pool and come out with fish, whereas you know it is not such an aquatic environment where such aquatic lives are found. So why should a company compel or impose such targets on workers, and sometimes people are laid off for not meeting up with such targets?
Yeah, sorry to cut you in. Now, we've also seen situations where the health of employees are not prioritized. No HMOs, no leave. They walk like elephants and eat like ants. And they are made to realize that it is even a privilege that you have this job. There are a lot of graduates out there roaming on the streets, and these employees know that it's true. When I lose this job, I don't know where my next meal will come from. And this put pressure on these guys, put pressure even on the, and it does affect productivity, because an healthy employee would be productive in their place of work. Now, what is your take? What's your advice to the employees and then to the employers?
Now, first to the employer. When you stress your employee, you upset the health status. You upset the mental balance. You cause a lot of anxiety, because the employee sees himself or herself as being in a state of dilemma where he is between the deep sea and the devil. He is going to chase for a target that is not attainable, and is all come back to be sacked. Now, in the case of salaries, some workers are paid on the 10th day of the next month. That's when they are paid for the last month that just passed. And that is callous. All this could happen because the government is passive over the welfare and well-being of workers. There's difference between a civil servant and a public servant. The public servant, anybody whose service rubs on the public, is a public servant. The woman who is roasting bole on the road, frying akara, is serving the public. The woman who is running a canteen somewhere is a public servant. Because some persons will live a distance from Ikorodu coming to Yaba with that particular canteen in mind. Can you imagine if such person comes to get to that canteen and sees that there's no food, and meets the woman in that canteen just sitting dejected, lamenting that things are unaffordable, can't buy condiments, can't buy this. You can imagine what it means. For the Christians, in the Holy Bible, they talk about how our Lord Jesus Christ caused a fig tree. He must have been coming from somewhere, hoping to eat from the fruit, seeing the fig tree as healthy enough to be productive, to get fruit. So, on causing that fig tree, it's just the same way. It's human emotion. You can just get so depressed. I know countries where, because of food, people have gone rioting in the country because of no food, or food that is affordable. Today, a bag of rice is twice the minimum wage.
Yes.
And people are said to be working. Is that work? The aim of work is to earn a living. And you are working unsustainably, And you can't call that work.
The cost of transportation also.
The cost of transportation and a whole lot of things, ancillary issues that are all attached. The man at work might be working in a place where a factory, go around, you see a lot of information written on the walls, factory work, 40,000, as if it's an offer. And when you get there, you will now get the real message. So what I'm telling the employer is that putting stringent and unattainable targets will kill the business the more. And not ever thinking of increasing salaries or adding to what is often referred to as overtime. Workers are meant to work extra hours without being discussed on what follows. They just work. Workers die in workplaces. Some years ago, when President Tinubu was governor of this state, workers were roasted alive in a factory about Owode area on Ikorodu Road axis, you know, and after mile 12, down that area. Why? Because the employer locks up everybody inside the factory for them to work when he is leaving in the evening, so that they don't go out. They must put every second of their time in productive work. And unfortunately, there was fire in that fateful day. And there was no place to escape. And they died. They were roasted alive. Sometime I was asked on a television interview like this about that. Somebody just remembered that and said, what happened to that case? I said, well, I was thinking of asking you that question, because that ended like that, like every other Nigerian issue. It just ends like that. But every workplace should have emergency exit. A factory where there's temperature that could be discomforting, that will lead to dehydration, there should be enough water dispensers for people to rehydrate. Like I said, the aim of work is to earn a living. They are not to sap the man till the last energy and stamina. So we have a whole lot of this problem. Even in the military, we were told that, see, your salary is not your right. That was the first mentality. Your salary is not your right. Your right is, you have right to be trained. You have right to be trained in every aspect of the military work, so that you will be very useful to the system. Your salary is secondary. Yes, but they will still pay you. Yet, today, if you know the salary of the military boys, it's unspeakable. When just opposed against the enormity of the task they carry out and the national relevance of their duty. And so the question is, you get the point. So can you say the work is more important than the man doing the work?
Or the man is more important.
Or the man is more important. Both must be given care. If the government is not checking the industrial sector,
okay,
and the employers of labor, how they treat Nigerian citizens, especially foreign employees in Federal Republic of Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Timothy, thank you so much. This is as much as we can take. Thank you. I hope you all learned one or two things from there, because, I mean, especially employers, I hope you have learned so as to treat your workers right, the right way to treat your workers. Thank you so very much. We appreciate. I hope when next we call you, you will answer our calling.
I will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that's as much as we can take. Sheikh Mudin Oladiemi is my name.
Osage Solomon is my name, and do have a lovely day ahead.
All right, we'll see you again. It's bye from us.